Well, it really was just embarrassing. This article, here we are a few days out from this election, and there's a lot of focus specifically in Prairie Village where there's been this grassroots movement, Stop Rezoning PV. You've been hearing about it for over a year on this show and across the region. And they've got their big city council races coming up on Tuesday, as does the rest of Kansas for that matter, and a lot of these important local municipal elections. And these are people that are going to, have in many ways a much bigger role on your day-to-day lives than those in Washington, D.C. And the Kansas City Star allowed a special, I would call it anything but that, but a special to be written by an individual that basically said if you are someone who is running for Prairie Village City Council, or you're someone who supports any of these folks running for Prairie Village City Council, who don't love the willy-nilly approach to rezoning land in that city, well, you're an extremist. That was effectively the moral of this article, and, called you bigots, racist, J.C. Nichols, the whole thing. So I wanted to welcome on a couple of folks who really have been at the core of this, and one is Kelly Wyer, who is running for Prairie Village City Council. She's joining us on KCMO, along with Mike Sterchi, retired attorney, Prairie Village resident for 33 years. So good morning to you both. We've got Kelly on the phone. Mike, you're here in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning.
Kelly, are you with us? How are you? So, Kelly, let me start.
Yes,
let me start with you. Just get this. I want to get a broad response from you as someone who is a Prairie Village resident, no political background, got inspired by this movement, cares about your community. What would you say when the Star has the audacity to publish this guest commentary and basically saying that you and anyone who supports you is an extremist?
The author of this article is unable to fight the demons vying for his soul. The hit piece he wrote for the Kansas City Star is full of hate and little substance. He doesn't live in Prairie Village, and he does not understand our residents. The people are looking for peace in the midst of over a year of heated council meetings. In Sean's opinion piece, he mentions the prejudice against the Black community, but he neglects to mention the prejudices against the Jewish community. I had a Jewish voter in my ward reach out to me this morning, and she said as a child, she attended the J.C. Nichols Elementary School, and everyone thought he was a wonderful man. Another example is the Rose family. They moved to Prairie Village in 1947 as the first Jewish family, and they were personally welcomed by Miller Nichols. In fact, the Nichols Company subsidized the mailing of their newspaper that was originally titled The Prairie Scout and eventually expanded to become Sun Publications. The issue in Prairie Village is not racism. It is that the current city council wants to push a variety of housing types on our already dense and landlocked city. Single-family neighborhoods make up 95% of Prairie Village. These neighborhoods are currently zoned as R1 neighborhoods. R1 means one house on one lot. That's it. The people running for city council that have the support of the Stop Rezoning group are for one house on one lot.
Well, Kelly, that's well said, and you put a good bow on kind of how we got here with this unfortunate situation when people are basically saying if you are a proponent of what you're talking about, that somehow means you are a bigot in some way. Mike Sterchi, I want to welcome you into the conversation to point out and talk about the legal side of this. What is something that is getting misunderstood when it comes to the legal side of what the city council has tried to do and what you want to point out in terms of what Stop Rezoning folks are trying to push for?
What you need to look at with this is the Stop Rezoning folks didn't get involved until the entire city council, including the people who are running right now, the incumbents, recommended that they basically abolish R1 single-family zoning because, and what people need to understand is the difference between accessory dwelling units, which are units that the council wants to see people be able to build in single-family housing. So basically, you'd be looking out your back window, and there'd be another house in your backyard, and there would be more cars on the streets and more traffic and more density. And the city wants to say, oh, no, we didn't want to do that. That's not true. Look at what they did. They voted for ADUs in the Village Vision. They voted 3 times. They recommended it to the Prairie Village Planning Commission. And the most recent thing is They have spent almost $100,000 suing their own citizens because their citizens wanted to vote, no, you can't do this. This is what the current council members, including Bonnie Limbard, Ian Graves, Piper Reamer, and I'm trying to think who the other incumbent is who's running.
Inga
Selders. She has voted to put ADUs in the Prairie Village Vision 2. She voted to recommend it to the Prairie Village Planning Commission, and she voted yes for suing your own citizens to stop this. It's utterly ridiculous because basically what they would have done by putting and it's still and what they argued in the legal papers. I read the brief that the city hired with our tax dollars. I'm a Prairie Village resident. The people, these attack vipers they're sending out, aren't even Prairie Village residents. In the brief, they argued that the city council had the right to authorize ADUs, and people should not be deceived that these are granny flats. These are not. Granny flats are already allowed by our zoning in Prairie Village. They're called accessory living quarters. You go through the proper zoning process, and you're allowed to add this onto your home for a family member or for a caretaker. These accessory dwelling units, what they're talking about that they want to put in, which would wipe out R1 housing, are separate rental apartments, rental homes that can be rented to non-family members. And the increase in density is insane. This is the other thing that people need to know. This stop rezoning did not come about. People did not organize for this until after the Prairie Village Council voted 11-0 to recommend these crazy recommendations to the Planning Commission. But the only thing that the petition was arguing about, the one about zoning, was to stop them from wiping out R1 zoning by ADUs and to stop them from wiping out due process. And when I'm talking about due process for homeowners, it's this by right clause. The council will not take that by right clause out because they want to favor developers and investors. And this is the really crazy thing that the council's doing. By allowing R1 housing to become multifamily housing, they are making us subject to investors from all over the country that are looking at going, wow, I won't have one house on that property. I can have two.
That's a great point.
It's not going to decrease our property value or make it more obtainable. It's going to increase the cost of it.
That's a good point. And it will increase the investor population as well in Prairie Village.
Absolutely. One of Tyler Agnew, who's not an incumbent, he's running for Prairie Village Council. He received an inquiry from someone he knew from before saying, hey, I understand that the council is considering doing all these things, and we're looking as outside investors at the city of Prairie Village. It's not just a supposition. It actually is happening.
Wow. Mike Sterchi, longtime Prairie Village resident, is here in the studio, and of course, retired attorney on both sides of our state line. Kelly Wyer is running for office. Kelly, I want to get your thoughts here and kind of get a closing statement on this as people look at this race. I mean, you get called extremists. You have media outlets in town who are promoting that kind of commentary. What do you make? You've been through this process. Of course, it's going to wrap up on Tuesday for better or for worse for you. What do you want to make sure people know about this movement, what you stand for, and what this is really all about there in Prairie Village?
Yes, we've heard extremists. We've also heard that we're elitists. And I will just say that I am so grateful for the outpouring of support that I've received from residents of both political parties and every political persuasion. I didn't know this before running, but the most money an individual can give to a city council campaign is $500. We have a lot of people who feel strongly about not making 95% of Prairie Village look like an overcrowded hodgepodge of housing types. Our donors all strongly believe in fixing what is wrong in City Hall and making sure that we have a city council who listens to you and gives a voice to everyone at the table, no matter their political or socioeconomic background.
Well said, Kelly. Kelly Wyer, she's going to be on the ballot. That is in Ward 6, correct? Next week on Tuesday?
Yes, Ward 6 is between State Line and Mission Road and 75th over towards Somerset.
Very good. Well, Kelly, good luck next week. Mike, I want to get your final comments as well here as we wrap it up.
I think this is an issue in Prairie Village. I actually talked to people. I went door to door a few times about signing the petition. And these were independents, Democrats, Republicans. They're like, we would love more diversity in our community. And I've talked to my neighbors. In fact, my neighbors are very diverse, of different races, religion, of all kinds of different backgrounds. But they want to preserve single-family housing in Prairie Village. There is a way to do this, and I think the way to do it right now is to vote for those running for council who will uphold single-family housing. Lori Sharp, Kelly Wyer, Tyler Agnell, Nick Riddell, Terrence O'Toole, who is unopposed but still needs votes, and the write-in candidate, Edward Boersma, Boersma. People have to spell his name correctly when they write it in, or it won't be counted.
Can he change his name to Smith just like for a week?
He's a wonderful dad and husband and lives in Prairie Village, and he's doing the very best that he can. But, this is something that is extremely important, and I've never seen a more pivotal issue on a local level. I've never paid attention to it before.
No, it has been really fascinating to follow. It has been all grassroots, and it's happening right in Prairie Village with that Stop Rezoning PV movement. And it's got a lot of, you want to talk about the elites, it's got the elites on the city council a little afraid. So, Mike, thank you for being here. So appreciate the time. And Kelly, thank you as well. Good luck next week.
Thank you, Pete. Appreciate being here.
You bet. That is Kelly Wyer. She is running for city council, Ward 6 in Prairie Village. And then Mike Sterchi, retired attorney, both sides of our state line, Prairie Village resident for 33 years.